all the mystery. We'll get prepped for a fight. Your favorite handful of die-hard dice tonight. Against those high DCs, a 20 would be nice. Please no one's die-hard dice. Need a crit, you gotta roll with die-hard dice. Let's get dangerous. Die-hard dice. Die-hard dice. Rolling scrolls and misshaped spheres, it's so hard to decide. So many colors and designs the Die Hard can provide. Which ones should I procure? So give me some advice. You need some Die Hard dice. Oh well, we suggest you roll with the best. Die Hard dice. Let's get dangerous. Die Hard dice. Don't be dice jail for these bad boys. Die Hard dice.
Good evening, everyone. It's Wednesday here at Nerdsmith. That means it's time for Obscurum, a City of Mist actual play live stream. I am your MC, Heath, and it has been my absolute pleasure to tell this story and unfold. Before we go around and introduce everyone, you can find me out there on the Twitterverse as DireBearAC and here on Twitch as DireBearGM, where I run a game every Monday night called The Escorts. Let's go ahead and go around and meet everybody. Let's start with Rev. Tell us who you're playing and about yourself.
Hey everybody, I'm Rev. I'm the host and GM of The Crit Show, which is an actual play podcast where we play Monster of the Week and other Powered by the Apocalypse games. You can find me on Twitter at RevDeshane, and you can find The Crit Show. Really just type it anywhere and you'll probably find it.
All right, thank you very much, Rev. Let's toss this over to Nix.
Hey everyone, I'm Nix. I'm an actor, director, gamer, and GM in Chicago. I am on Twitter at NixTesseract and on Instagram at Nix_Tesseract.
Excellent. Thank you very much. Let's throw it over to Carl.
Hello, I'm Carl Jordan. You can find me on Twitter as RPG Carl. After this evening, I'm not in any live stream games. Although I think we may have a home game coming up in a month, which will be on my wife's channel, Ars Mythica. So that's kind of exciting.
Excellent. All right. And last but not least, Mr. Colton.
Hello, I am Colton. I am on Twitter at ColtonZ9 and Instagram at ColtonX9. And like Carl, I think this is my last stream for a while. So...
Yep. And as you have heard both of those gentlemen mention, this is the finale, the last episode of Obscurum. And we've got a lot to go through. But before we do, a little shout out to our sponsors, World Anvil, Light Up the Forge with World Anvil, and Die Hard Dice. You saw the videos there. So if you want to roll with best, roll with Die Hard Dice. All right. So last episode. Investigations by Yvonne found her introducing herself to new individuals who were shocked to meet her because she is the famous Yvonne Calloway. Although, as she delved further and further into the investigation, it only started to turn up more and more questions, until finally, one piece of information fell in her lap. And that is the name of a firm known as Temple Investments. And then we had Jack, who was propositioned to take out one of the bosses. They didn't care which one, preferably Karkov, but it didn't matter either way. And again, tracking the number back using an ally of his, they found that it led to the same firm, Temple. We reached out, and Mr. Owens himself, Professor, was offered an investment opportunity to help bolster his business. Not that it needed help, but fresh cash, an infusion of such would always be a benefit and a boon. Meeting with the individual investor, they said, we're going to sign the documents. Take it here, and he hands him a card. And on it is the same firm. Like chess pieces on a board, each individually moved to where they all aligned at the same time, there at the temple firm. As they met, Max along with Yvonne, Dr. White, Professor Owens, and Jack all arriving sort of at the same time, the gatekeeper to the place, the receptionist, stepped into a smoked glass area, and as she stepped out to say just a moment, a figure from Yvonne's past, a man that none of the others have met, steps forward, his voice raspy, looking older but still very familiar to you, sharing a lot of the same features that you share with your mother and father. It's a pleasure to make all of your acquaintances. I'm James Temple. I've been keeping a careful eye on everything, sister dear.
Don't you call me that. Who are you?
I am exactly who I said I am.
You are talking to someone who makes illusions. Take
Then
yours
you should
down.
know. I can't. It's not an illusion. It is who I am.
Dr. White, is he telling the truth?
I'm going to take a glance at him and see if I can tell if there's anything powering him, if there's something odd inside of him.
Mm-hmm. I forgot to do something. Give me 1 second. There we go.
Uh, 11.
11. Oh, he's definitely powered, all right.
But I don't see like any kind of shape or anything to it like in the past.
Actually, as you look at it, the shape of it strikes you to the core. As you look at him, you can see him, and there's a trail of that same kind of essence or energy that seems to float and displayed against the glass behind him and surfacing up, almost like a shadow that looms over him. You see gargantuan wings, a long neck, an elongated snout.
Oh boy, I think that in that moment of seeing it, I don't think I can do anything except instantly fill the room with smoke and cause and shout, "Run!"
Like a squid.
Run!
If he
A
says
voice.
run, I'm probably gonna book it. At
Okay.
least try to.
Sure. And a voice trembles in the smoke as you fill the area. I mean, that's something you do easily. No need for a roll on it. You just to continue to smoke things out of here. But a voice rumbles in here. No! I've worked too hard to put this all together. I've planned every step, every move. Who do you think sent you the invitations? Who do you think put you on this path?
And I'm still trying to like create a distraction for everybody. And so I'm trying to like make versions of myself and move people around, and I'm talking in the smoke. Yvonne, it's the thing inside of him. It's the dragon. It's the thing that the professor warned about.
But is it James?
I can't see anything except for what is powering him, and it is the Leviathan. It is the World Eater.
If it's James, we have to get that thing out of him.
If anyone knows how, I'm all ears.
Stop the smoke.
Yeah, I think that there's this moment of all of the bodies, all of the various crows, like stopping, and yeah, just kind of dissolving down, and it's just the 5 of us standing there again with James.
Prove to me that you're him.
At your shoulder, you hear a... You can explain to me what that was later. I'm really confused. What's going on here?
Max, just sit down and try to stay out of the way. Are
Good
you
idea.
really my brother?
Of course.
Prove it.
I'm going to lead Max off to one side.
Okay. Professor Owens, what are you doing in this moment? The receptionist is still standing there. She seems nonplussed by all of this.
Okay, so I'm out of that, or where am I? Where would I be?
You're standing in the front office where the receptionist desk is, and James is standing at the door that leads into like the back half of the office, or the back part of the office, and you all are standing kind of at the door. You can see a couple of chairs that are off to the side, where currently Max is being guided by Jack to one of the chairs to be sat down. The receptionist is standing just kind of like in the front, but to the, as you're facing her, to the left of James, and she's got her hands like on the desk, but she's standing up.
Okay, I am probably gonna ask Abiel what she's seeing, what she can gather from this location as well.
Okay. Hold on just one moment here.
Yep. I'm going to keep a hand on
Go ahead and give me an investigate roll. Make sure that we look at the appropriate tags for that, for Abiel to give you a read on what's going on.
Yeah, I was just thinking...
I mean, Dr. White kind of mentioned what's there, so...
Yeah, Alright, actually, yeah, in that case, I think I'm just going to keep one hand on a vial containing an insect, and one hand on that key that I found a few sessions ago.
Okay. James unfolds his hands in front of him, holding them out wide. A week before the incident, you were very, very excited. You were going to go out for some talent show. And I remember being excited and helping you put together your act. The night of the show, you did your best. I am very proud of you. But I remember that you weren't excited, and when you lost, it broke your little heart. So I took you for a sundae around the corner.
What kind of sundae did I get?
Well, I always got the caramel. And if I'm not mistaken, though, you wanted the chocolate. With 2 cherries. You were very adamant about that. You liked the maraschino cherries. James, I want 2 cherries, James.
But you died.
So it was supposed to seem that way, yes.
Why? I was 6. Why did you leave me?
What did Mom and Dad tell you about anything?
Nothing. They didn't tell me anything. Just that you were gone in an accident.
I'm sorry, kiddo. Mom and Dad. More dad than mom. We had a disagreement about the way their business was going. I found out something that they didn't want me to know. We had a fight. I fled the house. I'm not sure if it was Dad or if it was some of his associates. My car lost control. But you know me, I'm smarter than that. As it tumbled, I leapt from the car. I wasn't completely out of harm's way. And when they found me, they couldn't identify me. And by the time I came to, I knew I was in danger if I ever revealed who I was. The last thing I remember before blacking out is seeing a man looking down as if to make sure the job was done.
You left me alone for 20 years. Why are you back now?
I've worked really hard at putting all of this together over the last 10 or so years. Do you remember your first big break? And I don't mean the small parts. Those you got on your own merit. You really are a good actress, kid. But the first big break. Do you remember that one of the producers was kind of quiet? He didn't have any input?
Yeah.
Me. Dr. White.
So you haven't been off hiding somewhere. You could have let me know that you were still alive.
And endanger you? I couldn't do that. Not yet. It wasn't time. Dr. White. You know how you built that clinic in that particular part of the neighborhood? And there were other buildings, and every time you tried to kind of get into one of those, it seemed to be better positioned or seemed to be snatched up or off the market or anything else like that until you got that particular clinic.
Yes.
Professor Owens, I'm really sorry about your uncle. Jack?
What is...
You were the wild card in all of this. You... The only thing that you've ever went along with as far as the plan goes is you accepted the invitation to the gala. The other three are predictable, nothing personal against any of you, but you You were something else. Yes.
When you say, sorry about your uncle, what are you implying?
That he was ill. And it's unfortunate that he passed. I didn't manipulate all of it. I didn't control all of it. Max is legit. He's not part of my operation. The jobs that he got you, those are all legitimate. Those are yours. And you did a really hard job and worked hard to get where you are. I merely nudged things in certain directions. 4 complete strangers who've never met, completely different walks of life. All 4 of you. How was I ever going to get that together?
Why do you need it? To what end?
Because you're probably the only 4 that can stop me.
All right, I would like to make an investigate check. I've been watching this whole exchange get a beat on this guy on lying, or more importantly, what his real motivation is.
Sure,
And
go for it.
I want to know what he means by that as close as I can, and I want to draw upon my new theme of divination as well.
All right, go for it.
So I would like to use the power tag's bullshit detector.
One of the best power tags ever.
Logical deduction.
Okay.
When I see it, I'll know. Never
Okay.
lose at paper, rock, scissors.
Mm-hmm.
And my new tag, expose hidden secrets from divination. My weakness tag on divination, on my divine sight, is visions of coming horror.
All right, and I'm going to throw one more thing in there. There's been this sort of palpable tension, not just the tension between Yvonne and James, but there's something else. It's sitting there at the edge of your nerves. It's tingling in your head. It's at a second from triggering that fight or flight mechanic. Yvonne, you're not affected by it because your rage is a little bit stronger than fear right now. Dr. White, you feel it, but you're also very cold and calculating. So I'm going to say for this, I'm going to only impose a -1 to this. Just because, Jack, you haven't fully caught on. You haven't seen the big image, the visage that's there behind the front that is James. Okay. Your audio is out, buddy.
I knew that. The divination, I'm assuming, is going to give me like flashes of insight, reach into my coat, and take hold of my gun as he says that.
Okay.
As I try to piece all the pieces together.
Okay, go for it.
And I have a 9.
Okay. Putting all the pieces together, looking at it from a perspective of not where your eyes are, but stepping back and looking at like a larger picture. The control of the families, the control of these things. If he's saying that he's putting things together, you kind of get the idea that he's maybe looking to take over the entire city, but not from an overt power situation, but more of a manipulating the underlying current of things. And as you look at how the last few months have moved you to meet June and the Tilt-A-Whirl, to meet these guys, to always kind of finding yourself in the path of these things, you quickly realize that either A, he's a very, very good con man, but your bullshit detector allows you to recognize that no, he's stone cold telling you the truth, but he is definitely obfuscating maybe what his end game is, or he's not giving you the full realization of what it might be.
What about the line about we're the four that can stop him?
So something about a couple of weeks ago, you joined parties with the Obscurum itself. And at the same time, Endigraph was talking about the decision. You don't think that maybe that was the decision. You think that this may have actually been the decision. This is the pivotal point. What better way to make sure that those that can stop you can't, if by having them gathered together where you can observe them? Or
Okay.
squash them if need be.
Right. So trap. Okay.
I mean, I'm not screaming trap. That's your words. I'm sorry if you're hurt.
What do you mean we're the only four that can stop you? Why, if you've spent 10 years or whatever setting this up, why are you also setting people up to stop you? You're not making any sense.
Backing up.
You're backing up. Take your hand out of your coat. As your friend can fill this room with smoke. And you watch as he kind of opens his hands, and as he does, they're engulfed in flame, and you see, and it's like blue, white hot. I can fill it with fire.
So what, you're just going to kill us all right now? That's your end game? Bring us all together so that you can kill us all in this room?
To stop the people who can stop him.
I could have done that at any point in time.
Exactly. You're not being straight with me. If you want to make up for the last 20 years of my life, start talking now. And I would like to try to convince him.
Okay.
Insatiable need for truth.
Yes, absolutely.
Uncanny perceptiveness.
Keyed up and ready to kill somebody. Is that a tag?
Manipulate actions, I think. And how about manipulate your desires as well? That he wants to be straight with me.
Yeah, I like it. You're telling him and manipulating him to tell you the truth. Yeah, I dig that one.
Great.
Good one.
I'm going to go ahead and self-invoke my emotional connection weakness.
Okay. Yeah, that would definitely come into play in this particular situation.
All right. I think that's everything. So rolling convince with a power of 3. That's a 9.
Okay. He looks at you and you see his eyes flare, but the fire goes out. I was lying there on the bed, lost, not sure what to do, and I had a choice to make. I could wallow in it, or I could try to make something more. I decided that our father was a weak individual, easily manipulated. I did not want to be that way. I wanted to be more powerful. I wanted to be stronger. I met a fellow. I think you know him as well. Last name of Endegraph.
Is our relationship with him a manipulation of yours as well?
Partly.
Is my entire life just being your puppet?
No. Whenever I met Endegraph, he was still batty as all get out. He told me that I had great power, but there would be an adversary. But he said he couldn't see who it was. It wasn't until years later. I revealed myself at this time to you for a reason. Join me. Join me. Each of you has gifts and talents. You're more powerful than anything else. You, Jack, could take care of all of the police force. Straighten them out where the corruption may run. Dr. White, under your care, this city would be cleansed of any sort of tumorous growth that it has in there. Professor, opening the minds of the individuals around you, letting them see what's truly there. And Yvonne, the face of it all, leading the city. I sit back. My portion of this job is nearly done.
What about the thing inside you? What does it want?
The same thing. It wants to see this city wrested away from those who would flounder and while away its greatness, turning blind eyes to what really is there. We could control all of it.
You haven't said anything that has made any sense yet, James. You know what? I don't even know if I can call you that. I don't even know if you really are my brother. You might have been once. But this is my family now. And I'm going to step back to the two that are closest, which I assume is Dr. White and the professor, because Jack said he took a few steps back. And I'm going to take each of their hands. And I'm going to say, this is my family. You're going to have to give us a damn good reason if we're supposed to believe that we should be on your side. When 10 seconds ago you said that you brought us together because we could stop you. You're not making any sense. We will stop you.
The whole adage of your friends close and your enemies closer. Look, I could have burned us all alive. Well, I would be okay. Maybe the doctor. But I don't want to. The emotional tie that I have is still there. I still look at you fondly and I feel those emotions that I had so long ago. My little sister. The job of taking care of you. All the times that mother and father were in the Poconos or in the Catskills or wherever it was they wanted to vacation, but didn't want the burden of children. You and I know you feel hurt right now, and it doesn't make sense. I recognize that you four could stop me, but instead of that, instead of being at odds and wasting any gifts that we have, why don't we work together?
You said that Peter Indegraff told you that there was an adversary coming. He told us that we had an adversary coming too. And it sure as hell looks like you are that adversary.
I've had many names over the centuries. Knights fought me. The most famous being St. George. There are those who detest my presence and some that honor me. I see great kites flown in my honor. Dances made. I am the last, but I am the greatest. James slowly unbuttons the jacket that he's wearing, and just kind of pushes it aside. I told you I wasn't completely without injury. He takes the jacket and shrugs it off. You see the shoulder moves a little slow. And he rolls up the right sleeve, and you can see damage from some sort of fire that's been healed over the last 20 years. And he rolls it up enough that you can see. I feared it for a long time. I ran from it. It did this. And this and more. Until one night, as I lie in that bed, feverish, I had a vision. Great, green, wings of leather spread wide. Mounds of treasure underneath me. Sycophantic calls of those who followed me. And it was glorious. It was like drinking ambrosia in auditory form. It was wonderful. I gave in. A vestige of me still remains. As you can see, I still remember a lot. And ultimately, I'm still your brother. Don't fight me on this. Join me.
You keep talking about controlling the city and the people. James Calloway was the kindest, most selfless person I've ever met. He would never long for control over other people. My brother died in a car accident a little over 20 years ago. Dr. White, Jack, Professor, do whatever you need to do. And I'm just going to turn my back and walk over to Max.
Okay. Well,
How's initiative work again?
I think it goes on a rock, paper, scissors method. No. His eyes kind of narrow, and they watch you walk away, and then they immediately turn back to the three of you. All at the same time, but not at the same time giving me what you're doing. Dr. White, you've been given the go-ahead. What are you doing?
I think that I am doing what I did in the Hogan house. I'm going to fill the room, and very intentionally, a couple of crows are going to appear in front of Yvonne and Jack and the professor and take off their goggles and hand them to them so they can see in the smoke, and then they will dissipate.
Okay. So you all have the glasses so you can see through the smoke.
Yeah.
All right. Jack, what are you doing?
Drawing a gun and firing.
Okay. Are you okay? Professor Owens?
So I am going to send Abiel straight at him. And then use the other 3 vials that I'm carrying to summon 2 wasps and a ant, a yellow crazy. Want me to roll for that?
Yes, I do.
Cool.
How flame resistant are these ants?
That's the question, isn't it?
I imagine like Jack pulling his gun and firing, and like as the smoke engulfs the room, like the bullet just makes it out of the smoke screen as everything kind of closes in over us.
Yeah, it's like I see the gun being drawn as the smoke falls around it, and then there's just a fire as it like blows through the smoke,
Just like
leaving
a little wind
Yeah,
tunnel through the
the
center of the
little
smoke.
swirls as it goes. All right. Yes, I want rolls from you, and I want rolls from Jack as well for shooting. For the shootings.
Okay, so I have entomological variations, use social servants, and then might of the masses, because I'm going to be like swarming him with insects.
Okay.
But Julio, that's a 12.
All right, and you are looking to just see to strike him with those, or are you just trying to just summon them? Right?
I'm gonna just have them all rush.
Okay. Would that be more going toe to toe? I would think.
I'm trying to sort of. Actually, it would probably just be summoning, because I'm trying to make tags.
Mhm.
Give my insects tags rather than just.
Then going off of what you have.
Yeah, so I don't think I'm going to be attacking right now.
Okay. Okay. That is good to know. Hang on just 1 second here. Do you have, I assume that you have individual sheets for those guys, right? Like, not necessarily character sheets, but like, you would know what the, how much status they can take before they're down?
Yeah.
Okay, good.
And I have Nasty Sting on both of the wasps, and that's just a 1 status, and then Acid Spray on the ant, and that's a tier 1 status.
Okay, so you're looking to then use this to create a story tag, I assume?
Yes. I'm creating 2 Nasty Sting statuses, story tags, and then a Acid Spraying story tag. Since I got 3 power.
Okay, I see what you're saying. I got you now. Okay, it wasn't calculating in my head. I was like, huh? But now I understand. I got you. I was like, no, I think they could. But yeah, I got you now. All right, Jack. Smoke gets in your eyes there, big boy. What are you doing? Drawing down on him.
I'm gonna try to hit him with all I've got. I assume I've got one shot at this, but it gets complicated.
You sure you don't want to stop holding back?
Ooh, that is a very tempting offer. Doesn't that crack or fade whatever you're using?
It can be anything. It doesn't specify what you're...
Yeah, depending on the severity of it. If it's something super deadly, it'll just kill you.
Yeah, that too.
Oh, exciting. I like exciting. That sounds like a not right now. That sounds like when this gets desperate.
Oh, okay. Okay. So you're just gonna go toe to toe? All right.
Oh, I was gonna try to hit with all you've got.
Oh, hit with all you got. Okay, sorry.
Okay. I am using power tags Tough as Nails, and my relics power tags Brings Death and Colt 1911.
Okay. You don't feel guilty about drawing this? The weight of it doesn't weigh on you that much, huh?
If you believe that heavy burden is applicable, I will do that.
No.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure at this point in time, the burden is not there.
I've just been it's just been confirmed that this is the big bad guy manipulating the other bad guys, and that we've been brought together because we're the only ones who can stop him.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm pretty sure this is our one shot, and I don't feel very bad about this.
No, not at all.
Okay. Result of 10.
Wah! The sound of the gun firing fills the air, and once again, and like a regular bullet, it elongates, forming this spear, the tip of it coated in blood as it slams into him. There's a grunt. Ooh! How did you power 3?
Power 3. And as the gun goes off, I just sort of step back into the smoke and put the goggles on.
All right.
And then can I hit with all you, or probably go toe to toe, because I'm also going to try and use my relic.
Okay, hang on just 1 second
Okay.
before we do that. Yvonne, you're over at where Max is. You have a set of the goggles in your hand. Dr. White, the room is still filled with smoke. You hear the gunshot. You used to seeing the spear of Longinus just fire forth from the gun and strike. And instead of like piercing like James, you see it like kind of shimmers through him, and that giant form that was on the wall, you see it kind of strikes that shadow form.
Okay, so I may be distracted for a second by that, but I am beelining toward Max at this point, and I'm going to kneel down next to him and just say, Max, I know you've probably got a million questions right now. I know I haven't really told you about these new friends. I mean, you've met them, but I know you have a lot of questions, but right now you need to get out of here. You're not equipped to deal with this, and I need to know that you're safe. In the midst of everything else right now, I need to know that somebody I love is going to be safe at the end of this. So let me help you. I know you can't see anything. I can. I've got some glasses and I can see through this smoke. So take my hand and I'm going to lead you outside, and will you promise me that you will go home and wait for me to call?
I've of course, I'm can't you come with me?
I can't.
There's a fire in the room. There's smoke everywhere.
I have to deal with this. That thing inside of what used to be James. It's personal, Max. I have to stay here and deal with this. Come on, and I'm going to take his hand.
All right. Yeah, he grabs your hand and you move out of it into the hallway. He looks at you in shock. You've still got the eyewear on, and he just kind of looks confused for a second, but then he's like, I'm okay. I don't understand, but I'll do what you say. I'll defer to you on this one. I heard a gunshot. Did I hear a gunshot in there?
It'll be fine, Max. I'm going to flip up the glasses
Mhm.
and look him right in the eye. Please just go home and wait for me to call. I promise you we've got this. I trust those men in there with my life.
Okay.
I love you.
He gives you a quick squeeze hug, and then he starts to kind of stumble towards where the elevator is, to catch the elevator down.
I'm going to stay there just long enough to make sure that he really leaves and go back then.
Yeah, he gives you one last look like, you sure you don't want to come with me? Okay.
And then as soon as he's gone, I will make my way back just inside the smoke in the room and survey what has happened in the 30 seconds that I was gone.
All right. You step back into the room. The smoke is still, unless Dr. White draws it back, the smoke is still there in the room. Okay. All of you, as you enter and the door closes, there's the sound of... You may have heard... No, because all of those are like gossamer and filament, but you hear the sound of what... It's a deafening sound of the beat of wings. And as you feel that, Dr. White, against the control that you have over this, some of the smoke is moved back. It's not all cleared out, but it's like forced away. There's the sound of a piece of furniture crashing against a wall. And the room gets intensely hot. I need everybody to face danger on this one. Just one more second outside. You sure you don't want to go with Max? I mean, it's really hot in here now.
Okay,
Famous screen actress. That tag will help me in this situation, right?
Yeah.
I believe that is the actual tag that you want first and foremost.
Does my good at talking? No.
and Jack's BS detector comes in right here too.
I actually do want to do something unusual. I would like to try to call upon the powers of my relic for affects change and radiates authority. Radiates authority is a bastion power.
Ooh.
To basically have the power of my relic hold the flames at bay around me.
Okay. So using that tag as to kind of bolster your facing danger there.
Yes, like
Okay.
magic versus magic.
Sounds great. I love it. Dr. White, I think you have a couple that'll come into play here.
I do. I have one playbook that is entirely my insides
Fire.
of fire.
The other two...
Can I burn one of the story tags that I just created to use a meat shield?
Uh-huh.
Cool! I'm gonna do that. Oh, one of my wasps
Okay.
goes away now.
Dang, Rev.
So how does anyone feel about me using adapt and react from the crew themes? That since I don't have any like offensive capabilities, that you all would have sort of taught me some things that, or maybe I dive behind somebody, or I don't know.
I
Yeah,
think
is
that
very
is
cool with that.
perfectly reasonable to assume that we somehow coordinate to make sure you're also protected.
Okay, excellent.
Yeah, between like Jack trying to get it to pour around him and basically me absorbing it.
I could see you diving behind Jack, as he holds the gun up, and all of a sudden it's like this spear with this energy shimmering around it.
Yeah, great.
Fire is blowing against, and you're like behind him all of a sudden.
I'm gonna actually, the way you all are describing it, I'm gonna go with tactical coordination instead, because that
Perfect. That's actually a really good tag.
Nice.
same effect here. But yeah, okay. Face danger. Ooh, that's
nice.
an 11.
That's an 11 with a power of 1. That's really good.
Yeah.
Look at you with the power, with the 11s, and then of course Colton's like throws a wasp in front.
That's great.
It couldn't have been the crazy ant, just like burning and no. All right. The room is suddenly filled with fire as you watch things just start to ignite, the curtains and things like that. Jack, you stand behind and the flames roll on either side. It's still warm and it singes a little bit, but not enough to cause you any real harm. Yvonne, you immediately dive behind Jack and the flames roll around the shield. Dr. White, you stand there resolute, absorbing so much of it that you just kind of shrug it off. Hang on just 1 second.
While I'm inside this shield with Jack, I'm going to catch his eye and say, "This is a very good situation for guns. All the guns you have."
Did you bring extra guns?
Do you also happen to have one that is housing Excalibur by chance?
No, she lives elsewhere in the city. For those of you who have never played, there's actually a pre-generated character, and it's Excalibur, and she's this wealthy woman, and she's like a weapons master from everything. You see now, as the fire coats the room, a little bit of your smoke dissipated by it just from the natural way that it flows out. He's standing there, and his hands are up, and you can see that rolling flame. He looks at you, but you can see that one shoulder seems to fall and kind of droop a little bit more than the other one. He takes a ragged breath. Fine. If you won't join me, then I will destroy all of us. I'll bring the building down on all of us. And he holds his hands up above him like this. And you can see the fire starting to reach up towards the ceiling. Let's go ahead and go around. First of all, Professor Owens, you look like you're ready to jump out of your seat. So what are you doing?
Okay, so I'm going to do a few things. First thing, I'm going to use a improvement that I got on my possessions, which I haven't used at all. I got it like the first thing, and what it is it's called Found It. Once per session, create a temporary tag that describes an item. So I'm going to create Flammable Chemicals 1. Because as part of the signing, I figured I'd bring a gift of our wonderful chemicals.
Here's raw chemicals that I would bring to a signing. Sure.
Awesome.
It makes no
like for
sense.
a yacht christening.
Honestly, it makes no sense, but at the same time, I absolutely love it. So why not? Let's do this.
I'm picturing a brandy bottle.
Yeah. Like a champagne bottle, but filled with
lighter fluid.
Filled with caustic chemicals. Sure.
Yeah,
sure. Why not?
So then, with that
When in
tag, I am going to, me and the insects that are remaining, are going to bum rush him in an attempt for me to use my relic. If that works, MC.
I'll let you summon I take it it's part of you're manipulating the scene. You're not actually creating it out of thin air. You're manipulating the scenario, basically, right? To create the chemicals. So, for instance, there's another game that literally it has changed the scenery where you can add a non-combative piece of equipment. For instance, in the scene, I created an old-fashioned newspaper stand, the kind that you put the quarters in, so that I could pick it up and throw it.
Okay.
So you're just changing the scene that way, right? By creating this,
Yes,
using this tag. Okay.
Yeah. Well, that was an
Okay.
improvement. That's not what I'm. And I'm
No,
going
no,
to.
I got you.
Yeah. So we're going to run up. They're going to grab him, and I'm going to use my relic on him.
Okay. So you're gonna run up and use your relic on him. What does that do? Opens the key. That opens the desk to Narnia.
No, it is otherworldly sentencing. So the worse he has been, the worse punishment is applied upon him. So, I believe that 1, 2, 3. Because then I'm also going to put all the flammable chemicals on him, so he doesn't try and light us on fire again without lighting himself on fire.
All the flammable chemicals.
Yes, the flammable chemicals.
Yeah. Okay.
Like, I'm assuming you're hoping that he might be immune to his own fire, but not other fire?
No, I'm just... Yeah. Either that or he's just going to, like, burst in flames, and he's just going to, like, start laughing, and we're all going to die horribly. Who knows? Worth a shot. Yeah.
Okay. You know what? Sure. Let's
Cotton.
see what happens. I'm feeling froggy. Let's jump.
Okay. So, I would be using otherworldly sentencing. Might of the masses and acid spraying.
Mm-hmm.
And flammable chemicals, so +4.
Okay.
And would that be toe-to-toe? Because I'm trying to, like, restrain him.
You're going toe-to-toe with him.
Cool. That's a 7. With a power of 4. Oh, boy. Cool.
You toss the chemicals on him, and as you do so, you realize that it's not the fire. The fire has no effect on him whatsoever. The chemical burn, on the other hand, does seem to have some effect on him.
Okay.
As it does, he stumbles back, and you hear the sound of shattering glass as he falls backwards through the smoked glass into the room behind him. He puts a hand on the table and struggles to rise to his feet, shaking his head left to right. He looks at you, Yvonne, for a moment, his eyes. Please. Please. It's me, Yvonne. It's James. Please.
That's dirty fighting.
Except it's not you.
Look. But it is. He's not here right now. He's not talking. It's me talking right now.
But he'll be back. It doesn't matter. I don't think there's any way to separate the two of you.
His
You're
eyes
too dangerous.
His eyes fall to the desk where his hands are. And he looks back up and he goes, "You're right." And once again, he just sprays the flames throughout the entirety of the building, coating both sides and everything in fire. Before I have anybody roll face danger, Yvonne? No. Jack. I want Jack to do this. Jack, give me an investigate.
I would be happy to.
Something about the scene is different from whenever I originally described it, other than the desk being thrown.
Would my divination come into play?
Because you're not trying to tell a portent of something to happen or what's going to happen or occur, I would say no, not in this particular situation. This is more of a realization of something.
All right, I'm using.
Like,
Is bullshit detector applicable? Is he lying about something?
No.
Or faking something? Hiding something?
I would say bullshit detector comes into play here, but not for probably the reason that you're thinking.
All right, common sense, logical deduction. When I see it, I'll know. And bullshit detector.
Actually, yeah, that's actually all very good ones. I'm way too kind. Be like, no.
That is an 11.
All
with a
right.
Power 4.
You, for some reason, there's this thought that's tickling at the back of your neck, and you look around. There's something that's off, and as you look around, you realize what it was. There was Max. There was the four of you. There was James. There was Abiel. There was somebody else.
The secretary?
She's not in the room.
Wasn't she in the glass room that he just crashed into?
She was leaning on the desk. And I need you to roll a special face danger just on your own, please.
Thank you.
You're welcome. I love how the little paper says Jack Kasich rolls a great success.
Yeah, that's pretty handy.
It's like the game just cheers you on.
Yay. 7.
Okay. So it's reduced. As you feel something strike you across the back of your head. It's heavy. It's wrapped in leather. It's a sap. You're familiar with that. The rest of you watch almost because of the smoke in the room and the way it's filled up, but you see a shadow that isn't a crow that pops up right as Jack is turning. Thwack! And you feel something strike you across almost the back and side of your head. You will be dazed 2 as she hits you with this heavy sap to try to knock you out. And she just kind of sort of appeared and then whack, hit you.
Okay, got it.
All right. There's fire filling the room now. His shoulder is dropped to one side, so it's like he's firing like this. And you can see it's just filling the room. But we're going to do this. I want everybody to go ahead and roll another face danger. And I need to apologize to Dr. White for something in a minute, but go ahead.
Okay. Oh, please, you first.
I should really have given you an action to take before you had to face the danger again. So what I'm going to say is, I'll go ahead and let everybody roll, but what I'd like to do is know in that moment what you were doing right as he was trying to plead with Yvonne. I apologize.
Yeah, so the thing that I want to do is, because I've seen him try to burn this place down, is I think it would be to, I don't know if it's face danger or change the game, but I want to hop down with him. And essentially, if you put 2, anything where you see 2 sources, one pushing something out and the other one taking it in, like I just want to put my hands up to his and just try to draw in to stop him from setting the building ablaze.
Ooh. You know what? I'm going to go with changing the game, because while you are facing danger, it's fire. This is your element. And so you're trying to manipulate the situation, in my opinion, from the narrative standpoint, to absorb all of this fire. So as you do, you step up, you see his hands come out, and you just kind of do that thing where you like lock your hands on his.
Boy, and I hate to do it this soon in the game, but I actually think that in this moment I would burn a tag to do it, because the thought of this building coming down on us, I feel like in this moment, I would think I might be the only one who could survive that, and that's not acceptable. And so I think I'm going to burn my Scorched Earth tag, which the tag's purpose is to let me generate fire all around me. And so I think in this case, it would be to absorb fire all around me.
All right. All right, so I will put that roll. And I need to look at this real quick. All right, so you're going to use change the game, and you are going to attempt to absorb all of that. Not bad.
Oh, I didn't have my, wait, did it add my burned tag?
It doesn't add.
Oh, the
It's just automatically when you
Yeah.
burn a tag. It's just automatically that you rolled 7 with a power of 3, so it's a 10
oh, okay.
with 3 to spend. Then
For some reason, I thought this program usually added that point in.
No, so you and I may have missed that. You said you are burning this tag, so that way
Yeah.
it's...
Mm-hmm.
Okay, got you now. Thank you. Yeah, you rush across the room and stand. You watch as his hands come up once more to just ignite this area. And you quickly put your hands up against his and just kind of focus. As you do so, you watch as the fire ebbs around, but you absorb it into your own. And there's a lot of it. There is a lot of fire. Just when you think you're not going to be able to stand there anymore, it's that metaphorical, like, test of strength where your foot sorts of starts to slide back, and then you double down. The heat subsides, and he stands back from you. How much more of that can you take?
Well, as you said, we're the ones who can stop you.
True.
does he still have a status of restrained at all? He was restrained 4 at one point.
Yes, he is restrained.
Okay.
Which if... So it would give him the power of 3, so if he wanted to, Rev could actually increase that status by 1, couldn't he?
Yeah, it's the way it works is on the status cards, those little pips, like you see how you're at 4, and then like if Rev did something that gave him a status of restrained 3, he would add 3 of the pips onto that little tracker there. So it wouldn't just automatically bump it up to 5 yet, is what I'm saying.
Well, I was thinking that because of the way the juice works, since he was doing the change of the game and it gave you a power of 3, one of the things you can do with the juice is to spend it to reduce or give or reduce a status.
Oh, yeah.
That's what I was mentioning.
Here.
So
yeah,
like he could literally go,
yes,
here, take that. Which
Yeah, so I
narratively,
think-
if you're holding your hands against his...
Yeah, I think that, like, because he's trying to bring this building down, he's trying to melt this big metal building, that in not getting this fire out of himself, it's kind of channeling through both of us. And so the steel under his feet just kind of opens and it's melting his feet into place.
Yeah, all the tile and the linoleum and everything else like that is starting to bubble up, and it's like miring him down so he can't move. So yeah, I dig that. That works. You watch as the form of the building underneath his feet starts to buckle and starts to give underneath the immense heat that he's putting forth. And he looks down at his own shoes and he's like, ugh, along with the chemicals that are having an interaction with the environment around him. It's this whole situation of where his body is starting to become more and more mired. One of the things you do notice, though, is that as he grips your own hands, the heat is immense. But more is the amount of strength that he has in his hands. He doesn't seem like he's going to, but there is a thing in the back of your head, hoping that he doesn't, that he could probably toss you whichever way he wants to. All right. Dr. White prevented you guys from having to face the danger of the room being ignited once more. Dr. White, you're currently locked hand in hand with James Temple. Yvonne, what are you doing in this moment? You have just a moment to react before something else is going to happen. What are you doing?
Well, he's fully restrained now, though, right? Because if Rev increased that to 5, then that's a right. You can't get out of that. He's right.
His mind
so there's
completely.
Yeah. Okay. So I think seeing that he is not going to be able to do anything now for a while, I'm just going to walk back up to him and be like, I want to talk to the thing that's in there. You were trying to tell me a second ago, oh, he's gone. It's not, it's me. I want to talk to whatever you really are.
You watch as he turns his head left and then right, and you hear the sound of pop, like popping his neck. He looks at you and goes, "Go on, girl. Speak."
Are you able to leave my brother?
I am able to move in and out as I see fit.
If you left him, would he still be alive, or are you the only thing keeping him alive at this point?
He is weak, but he is still tied and bound to this dirt.
So earlier in the evening, when we invoked Yvonne's emotional connection weakness, that was my third attention on imaginary circumstances. So Yvonne has leveled up on the subversion theme. And so the new tag that I have added, and I've been thinking about this for a while, is make the imaginary real. So this imaginary circumstances theme is all about being able to create these illusions. It started with she could create it for herself, and then she realized she could extend it to other people. And I think now in the heightened emotion of this moment, she realizes, or at least thinks that maybe it's possible that she can manifest those illusions into reality, that she can tell her own narrative and speak it into reality. And so I think this is going to be stop holding back as well that I'm going to use. And what I want to do is say, if it's possible, get out of my brother, and just compel him out.
I feel like we should have an older priest and a younger priest, but yes, I got you.
And so, let's see. I obviously am invoking the new tag for this.
Wait,
do you feel like this is going to be significant, no return, or ultimate on the price of this? Do you have those in front of you, the definitions of those?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
It's not ultimate, and it's not no. I think was it no coming back?
No return. Yeah.
No return. It's not that. I think this is something that you're going to be able to return from.
Okay, so significant.
Yes, significant.
Okay.
And just
kind of like thing. Yeah, go ahead.
You don't use tags for stuff.
I just realized that too. Yeah.
That's okay.
Yep.
It's kind of like when Dr. White did the same thing earlier in the game. He kind of stopped holding back and it just kind of sapped him. It was a significant sacrifice, and it just kind of sapped him for a while.
Yeah. Well, for the mechanically though, for the roll, it's plus logos. So instead of tags. So I've got 2 logos right now. So all right, here goes. Nope, not minus, plus 2.
Not the wrong way.
All right, that's a 9. So on a 7 and 9, mark fade, crack, and burn all the power tags on one theme. So I believe that's going to have to be that imaginary circumstances. I think
because you are.
I think this happens, but that it completely kills that theme for the rest of the night.
Yep. You step forward and you exert your will on the situation, and you watch as James's face starts to crumple and not crumple like crumple in, but like you watch as it sort of sags and fades, and he grips your hands a little tighter, Dr. White, but it's not the same strength as it was before. You can see now that there's literally holding on to you for support. You see he kind of curls his hands and his body in, and you watch as his shoulders tug. As you do, there isn't a release of big energy or this big powerful thing that explodes in the air. You just watch as he slumps forward.
And I don't see anything like visibly leave him or anything like that.
Not at first.
Okay, I think there's going to be a beat where I realize that and say, I may not have thought this through. I don't know where that thing went.
Head on a swivel, trying to specifically look for that secretary.
Mm-hmm. You looking through the smoke and trying to see this. Jack, actually, Dr. White, since you're the one that's looking around, carefully investigate for me, please, as you are trying to see where this is at. Jack, what are you doing other than rubbing the back of your head right now?
Hearing what Yvonne said, looking around almost dismissively of the secretary that just sapped me because there may be some much, much bigger threat looming over us.
Can I use Abiel to see if she noticed the thing leave James's body?
She has the ability to kind of notice that difference in things, so yeah, I'd say you can. I think I need to play a City of Mist game where I play a doctor as well, but my power isn't in the human, it's in the dog that I carry around. He's a cancer-finding dog. And that's my whole thing, is just to cure people using that.
That would be wonderful.
It was a cross between Dr. White and then the way Abiel sees things and people that kind of draw that to my mind.
10.
10. You are looking around and you see your crows. You see through them unless you manifest them particularly in a way, but even then they are still just smoke. But you see something that isn't one of them moving towards the door. And it doesn't open the door, it tries to look like it's going to slide under the door.
Yeah, I will shout that out to everyone. I think that in this moment of James kind of slumping, that it goes from a grip into a kind of a cradle. And I will indicate over my shoulder, there's someone, it might be her, headed for the door.
I'm just going to casually no-look shoot.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Keep in mind you're still kind of... He's got the mirror up and he's shooting over his shoulder. He's just going to turn around and fire from the hip. Just fan the hammer one time. Except for the 1911 actually does have hammer. But anyways, yeah, you're going to go ahead and shoot. Yeah, it does have hammer.
Oh man, I would say use adapt and react. I think that as you draw the gun, the crows see it and they part the smoke a little bit for you to make another tunnel.
Nice.
I love it. Let's do it.
Like as the way of pointing Jack at the door.
Mm-hmm.
That's fantastic. What happens if I burn the theme tag? That just adds +1?
Yeah.
Okay.
And I'm just going to be burning my specialist species tag to
Okay.
make sure Abiel sees.
Sounds great. Go ahead and give me that investigate then for that to see if you can figure out where this giant dragon went to.
I'm just burning the tag.
Oh, that's right. That's right. I'm sorry. My brain went completely somewhere else. I was listening to the theme tag.
Yeah.
Anyways, there isn't anything in this room. Well, other than you all. And the shadow that's moving towards the door. No great beast of consumption and greed.
Good to know. After Jack shoots, I'll tell them, I'll relay the message.
Okay, unfortunately, can you have more than one weakness tag on a roll?
Yeah.
Is that a thing?
Yeah.
I think Sleepless Nights and Heavy Burden apply here because I don't know who this woman is, and I don't know if she deserves to die. And I still have -2 status from Dazed. So with 4 power tags for attacking, I have a total power of -1.
Okay. Now, I will ask the question before you make that roll. Sleepless Nights? I don't know that Sleepless Nights would come into play here.
Okay.
Because it's not like you've been up chasing this lead all night long. You got a call that morning, and you'd slept that evening.
My thinking is the same reason as Heavy Burden, that this is just an action that takes its toll on Jack.
I could see that if you had a weakness tag that says, like you said, like Heavy Burden, weighted decision or something like that.
Okay.
But for me, Sleepless Night seems like, and it's your character, so
Cool.
don't let me influence you. But I just always got the impression that Sleepless Nights was when Jack is just on the beat, just making headway in a case and just eschews sleep for coffee.
All right.
But that's that's just,
Power of 0, gonna roll hit with all you got.
okay. Go for it.
And it's a 6. It's a miss.
It shatters the door and it tumbles in, but unfortunately, Dr. White, you see the figure slip out of the area and is gone. Are you still kind of watching that spot, Dr. White?
Yeah, I mean, I imagine that the crows there would not turn away from that spot.
Okay. Yvonne,
And
you were
just
gonna
to
say
jump,
something.
yeah, just to jump in here, the moment that all of this kind of fired off at once here, as soon as I saw James sort of collapse down onto Dr. White, my immediate instinct would be to run over there and start to take him and just shoo Dr. White away and say, "You go. I can't do anything in this, but you can."
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. So you kind of transfer her brother over to her as you take off towards the door, or
Yeah.
what are you doing?
Yeah, I think so. I my impulse would be to stay here, but with her saying it that way, it would turn me to the door.
Okay. You run towards the door using your own crows to kind of propel yourself through that smoke, and you watch as you exit the room. You can see the shadow is moving and it's coming up out of the ground, and now you can see the young lady, and she's got a purse and she's stuffing something into the purse. And about that time, before she gets to the elevator, there is a very distinct ding, noting that somebody has arrived. The elevator doors, you're standing long ways to them, so you can't really see them, but you understand that they're opening. what you expect to see is anything but what you actually see. Your glass is focusing on it. You can see that same like arcane mystical form, but it's not a person. You watch as one massive paw puts its hand or puts the paw down on the tiled floor at where it is. And you see another one. And then you watch as this head of this wide, massive dog, a wolf-like snout, but with shorter ears. And then another one. And then a third head appears. And it steps forward into the hallway. And it turns and faces. But what you see is 3 identical women. Each one with a different, very well-tailored suit, short hair. You recognize these 3 women. As the young lady's rushing towards them, she bumps into one of them surprisedly, and she apologizes. Brigitte, one of them, looks at you and says, "Everything all right, Doc?"
Yes, don't let her get on that elevator, please.
The middle one says, "So you're asking us to detain her?"
That would be correct.
The smile on their face is one that you were thankful that is never directed at you, or hopefully never going to be directed at you, as all 3 heads of Cerberus look at this figure and give an evil grin. And before we go much further, we're going to take a short break, guys. Sorry. We're going to come back and wrap up this part of it and then get into the rest of the story here, wrapping up our last episode of Obscurum. Thank you all for watching. We'll be back in 10 minutes. Is that good for everybody? All right. Give us 10 minutes. We'll be back. We're going to stretch our legs, get some drinks. We suggest you do the same thing. Go get some popcorn, and we'll see you all soon. Thank you. Welcome back, everyone, and thank you for being patient with us while we stretched our legs. I can tell you right now, I had to get up. I was on the edge of my seat, and I didn't even know what's going on. So, anyways, the visage of Cerberus, the three ladies, step off of the elevator, detaining the receptionist who was trying to evade your capture. Back in the room, the visage of the dragon, the great green worm, Jormungandr, whatever name it had, is apparently gone. Or at least it's not in the room. You hold your brother in your arms.
Is he still restrained? Because he was almost like being melted into the floor, right? Like, is he still kind of stuck there?
Kind of. It's maybe not as severe as it was.
Like, does he have to take his shoes off to
like
to leave?
he might have to break away part of the ground that's there underneath his feet, but I mean, for the most part, his legs aren't bound or anything.
Okay. I think I can't really look him in the eye, and I'm immediately busying myself with that. I get down on my knees and I'm breaking apart whatever and just helping him to get freed and not really saying anything yet.
He's lucid, but you can tell that there's something going on with him that he's like somebody coming out of a stupor. You know how you do that thing where you're half awake, where you've just woken up and the dream hasn't quite faded, and so you're not really quite sure of the reality that's around you.
Mm-hmm.
And he just looks at you and he goes, "Do I know you?"
You've been through something that I can't even begin to explain right now. Just let's get you out of here and get you somewhere safe, okay?
Where am I?
We'll tell you all about everything later. We just need to get you out of here.
He kind of like looks at you for a moment, and it's, take a picture of you now and hand it to your kid self. Would your kid self recognize you? He has this look on his face of like he's trying to place where he knows you. You remind me of someone.
We'll get you all caught up later, I promise. But right now, there's still danger in here, and we have to get you out of here.
Okay.
Can you move? Can you walk?
I can try.
And I'll support him and try to help him
Sure.
move if necessary.
He's not all of his weight is on you. He has one kind of on the table that's there. There was a long conference table there. And he's got his hand kind of on it and an arm around you. He's like, "Sorry if I'm heavy." And honestly, you would expect him to be heavier. But as you look at his form, now that whatever it was within him is fled, he looks lean. He looks like the suit doesn't fit him right. Like he doesn't...
Like gaunt?
Yeah, gaunt, thin, lean all around, and he's not very heavy. Hang on, I'm sorry. I gotta break the immersion for a moment. Carl, that was perfectly placed. He ain't heavy. He's her brother. Anyways, he puts his arms around you and he steps with you out into the main area. The desk is smashed against the wall. Bits of the debris are scattered across. There's singe and just everything. Smoke from the burning curtain. The plant is completely obliterated that was in the corner. He just looks around and he goes, "Was there a fire?"
Yes, there was an explosion, I think. Come on.
Oh.
And we're the only ones left in this room, right? Everyone
Jack
else
is, I think Jack is in the main room.
Yeah.
And Professor, you were in like the big conference area where the smoke glass was, or were you in the main room?
Me and my entourage are all in the main room.
Okay. So as you guys step from the smoked glassed area into the main lobby or the main room, you can see the professor, you can see the professor and Jack are standing there. And again, like I said, there's curtains that are singed. There was a plant in that corner, but it's just an ashy mess. And that's when he asks you, was there a fire going on in here?
So yeah, I said that about the explosion. And then when I look to Jack and Robert, what do I see? Are you looking back at me? Are you about ready to dart out to Dr. White? What are you two up to?
I'm looking around like I'm trying to find something.
Okay.
I'm probably going to go help see if you need any help carrying your brother.
Okay, so if you're like coming toward me, then I think that movement would get my attention, and I would address you then. Robert, where's Dr. White?
He went out chasing the shadow thing.
Okay. Does he need help? I want to get my brother out of here, but I'm not sure what we need to do yet. Is it gone? Is it dead?
I don't know.
I'm on it. You look after him.
Okay.
And I'm going to send.
Hey, I'm going to start running outside. Is Max still in here?
No, Max left. He went before you guys broke into the brouhaha. He went down the elevator.
All right, I'm going to walk over to Yvonne and hand her my flask and nod towards her brother and say, "Here, it might help."
Thank you.
And then I'm running outside.
And I'll take it and offer it to James and say, "Here, drink some of this. It might help you feel a little better."
He takes a look at it and sorry, I'm interrupting my thought because I want to make sure that I heard. Did you mention either of you who is not Yvonne? Did either of you just say the word brother?
No.
I said it out of character.
Okay, that's fine. Okay, I just want to make sure. He looks at the flask and he goes, "I'm too young to drink that." And then he kind of looks at his hands for a second. And then he just tips it back. Some spills out on his chin and he just kind of wipes at it. Thanks. Oh.
You hang on to that. Take more if you need. And then what I want to do is I'm assuming that going through where they all are with the creature is the only way out of here. So I guess I want to make my way to the door and see, and I've still got the glasses too, so I flip them down if necessary, and I want to see if I can see any possible path that James and I might be able to make. And just narratively, I think what I would do at this point is I would, when I got there, I would try to summon some sort of an illusion to, a wall or hide us or something, and then realize that I just can't do it since mechanically I burned that entire theme.
Yeah, you reach in to draw on that power that you've learned to just kind of control innately, but then you realize, oh, it isn't there. Jack, as you step out into the hallway, you look to see the three well-tailored ladies standing there, and they've apprehended. They've kind of got her arm pinned behind her back, and one of them has got her purse and is like looking through it. As they see you, one of them has a butterfly knife, and she whips it back where the blade is concealed back in the handle, and she kind of like taps her forehead in the salute. And they sort of kind of said, "We're gonna take this one back to the office. Come along, dear." And we start to leave, and you watch as you come out of the hallway, James. The elevator dings, and you can see down the hallway, and what you see are four women, three escorting another. And James just kind of looks for a second. He goes, "Her name is Melody."
Who's Melody?
And he kind of points a finger down the hallway to the young lady. Her name is Melody.
You remember her?
Kinda?
Okay, well, we still need to get you out of here so we can figure out all the details later.
Okay.
Do you see? Does it look like if we stay along the wall, do you think you can move quietly with me and we can kind of sneak our way past?
Yeah, I'm feeling a bit better now.
Okay.
And he kind of puts his hand on the wall to help guide himself, and you can see that he's taking a lot more of the weight off of your shoulder. So it looks like he's gaining his footing a little bit. He's still a little bit wobbly. He's still got, fresh full legs, but he's getting a little bit better. You get to the elevator, and you watch as Ygritte pushes the button, calling up the other one. She says, "We'll take this one. You take that one." And they get on the elevator and the door closes. A moment later, the other lift opens up and you step in. Dr. White, Jack, Professor Owens. We'll start with Dr. White. You watch as Yvonne is escorting her brother, whose form looks much more emaciated or gaunt, as Nick said. And she's escorting him down the hallway. You can see the three ladies. The form of Cerberus is no longer there. You just see the three of them, and they're holding her and waiting for the elevator to open back up again. Jack, as you rush out the hallway, you see the scene again played out just a bit ahead of that. Professor Owens, what are you doing at this time?
I was probably just following Yvonne, making sure.
Okay. So you exit out as well. All right, Dr. White, as they get on the elevator and you're waiting for another one to come up, what are you doing, sir?
I think the only thing to do is, we have not encountered a lot of forms or powers or whatever that could not be in the person. And so I think I want to try to search the building, just in the off chance that there's somebody hiding here, that it's somehow in the building, just turning on the lenses and just scattering through the building and trying to see, is it hiding somewhere?
Filling the building with smoky images of yourself up and down, top to bottom.
Yeah, just looking for that glow that we saw of that green dragon.
Go for it. Investigation?
Yeah, I think this is going to be... I think I'm going to use 3 of my... Where there's smoke tags, I think I can use Smoke Form and Murder of Crows and Through the Cracks. And then maybe Eye for Weakness. Or, well, actually better would be Under Observation. And then the only other one would be, I don't know if this applies necessarily, would be Super Tasker. I'm not really trying to do multiple things, though.
Yeah,
so
you're not. So. Yeah, you're just kind of focused on one task at the moment, and that's see if you can find this thing. Jack, what are you going to be doing in this?
Can I wait and see what he says?
Yeah, if you want to. He rolled a 12.
Did.
That's a startling success, sir. You spread your form throughout the building, top to bottom, moving as fast as smoke, cascading down the staircase. Top to bottom, you see offices and people look confused, but nothing jumps out. Nothing reveals itself as this form. Everybody you come across seems to be good old-fashioned normal human beings.
Yeah, I imagine standing there in the hallway in front of the elevator, and just almost like multiple just figures start to walk out of me as spread through the room, and then just finally kind of slumping a little bit and turning to Jack. It's not here. I don't know if it got away. I don't know if it doesn't have to have a host all the time, but it is not anywhere in this building.
I'm looking for the stairwell.
Okay, easy enough to find. It is at the... Actually, as you exit the office, it would be to your left, where the elevators were to your right.
All right. As soon as I spot it, I'm turning back to Dr. White and saying, well, Doc, if you were a benevolent ancient creature with giant wings, how would you get away? And then I'm running for the stairwell and going up.
Yeah.
And I apologize. Did you go into the elevator with Yvonne, or are you...
No, I'm still with Jack and Dr. White. I just came out of the room following Yvonne.
Yes. So I think seeing you come out with your 2 remaining friends, Professor, whatever was here, it may have taken to the sky.
Yes, okay, understood. Abiel, if you wouldn't mind doing a sweep.
She tips her head at you and gives you the smile before she starts taking off towards the stairwell. Maybe not with the exuberance that Jack did bounding over to them, but she still makes her way and then takes off towards the sky. There's a ding and the elevator opens up for you, Yvonne, sliding in with James, and he's now standing more on his own, and he's leaning against the interior of the elevator with his hands on the railing there, and he goes, I don't know what hit me, but that was a doozy, I can tell you that. Throat feels raw.
I'm sure you need a lot of rest.
Mm.
We all could use it.
You remind me of... This is going to sound funny, don't take offense at it, you're pretty and all, but you remind me a lot of my kid sister.
She sounds cool.
Yeah. She's pretty neat.
When we get to the bottom of the elevator, I'm going to be looking around for a phone at a reception desk or something that I can use. And would it have been, I, the player, have lost track of how much in-game time would have passed. Would the battle have gone long enough that Max would have been able to have gotten home by now?
Not home, but definitely far enough away from the building.
But not somewhere where I could reach him on the phone?
Not yet, no, unfortunately.
Okay.
It hasn't been. It's been several minutes, but not long enough for him to get to where his place is. Then
I'm going to call Paul then when I find a phone.
Perfectly fine. There is one at the reception desk along with a very familiar figure. You watch as the 3 ladies are climbing into one of their vehicles, and walking out behind them is Gordon, and he turns and looks at you. And he kind of tilts his head as he looks at your brother. And he goes...
And I just go...
Good day, mademoiselle. Monsieur. It is a lovely day. The skies have parted. The mist is drawn back, if you will. And he gives you a wink as he starts to head out the door, whistling.
And I'm going to make a beeline for that phone and call up Paul, my driver. Okay.
And as you do so, we're going to go to the gentleman. Guys, Jack, you take the stairs. You take the stairs a few at a time and arrive at the roof access. Kicking open the door, you step out. You can...
As I was bounding up the stairs, I'm probably bouncing off of walls because I'm still trying to shake my dazed condition.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, continue.
No. You get out and the sunlight is sparkling off of the roof and the small bits of rock, and it is a dazzling jewel, but it's a little brighter for your eyes than what you were hoping for. You kind of avert your gaze away from it because it is so bright. Thanks to that sap to the back of the head, things are a little off kilter, as you will.
All right. I have picked up a new power tag on my new divination theme.
Mm-hmm.
It is called Flashes of Other Parts of the City.
Mm-hmm.
I would like to burn that tag to try to get a sense of where this creature has gone.
Okay.
Specifically, if there's a direction I can point my gun and shoot.
Okay, so you burn the tag. As your mind stretches out across the city, it's like every time you blink, you see a different part of it. And as you do so, you realize that the city is going on about its every day normal activities. There isn't a disturbance. There isn't something gigantic in the sky that's fleeing from you. Doesn't seem to be anything anywhere. It's just a normal day here in the city. The door behind you opens with less exuberance than what you did. Abiel is there, standing beside you. I don't see it.
No shit.
No. Is it gone?
I don't know how any of this works. Maybe. It ain't around.
Okay. I will report back. And she turns and makes her way back to the stairwell. Eventually catches back up to you, informs you, Professor Owens, that it doesn't seem to be anywhere around. Matching up what Dr. White had scoped throughout the building, Jack eventually, with no other place to turn and not sensing it anywhere else, you're left with one opportunity, and that is to return back to the other two.
Yeah, after a minute, I'm heading back downstairs.
At this point in time, you've gotten into your vehicle. Paul has arrived after several minutes. Where are you taking James?
So I'm not going. When Paul arrives, when I called him, I told him in advance that this was going to be a situation that he would have a lot of questions about, and that for right now, I just needed him to be discreet as always, and that I was going to send somebody with him that I need him to take him to a location. So when he gets there, then I'm going to bring James to the car and introduce them. James, this is my driver, Paul. Paul, this is James. Paul, I need you to take him to Max's place. He left here 10 minutes ago, maybe. So he should beat you there. And just tell him that I sent you both there, because otherwise he may not be sure what to do with James or what to think. And tell him to take care of James until I contact him.
Of course. Come on, James. Let's take a drive. And he gets James
As
situated.
James starts to get into the car, I'm going to grab his hand and pull him back and just wrap my arms around his neck.
He's startled for a moment, and then he just kind of, like, you feel his head, like the side of his head touch yours, and he reps and returns the hug. Embracing it, as weak as he is, he's still able to give you a good squeeze. And he just kind of looks back and he goes, I swear I know you.
We'll talk later.
Okay. And he kind of gets in the car. Paul shuts the door. I'll make sure he gets there safe.
Thank you.
They mount up and drive away. Boys, I assume by this time you've already made your way down to the bottom floor. All right, lads. The four of you are gathered. Their car hasn't left yet, so you can still see Gordon and the three ladies. Gordon is leaning against the car. One of the ladies is out with him. The other two are presumably inside. He walks over and says, "Would anybody like to give me a report of what happened?" That looks like your brothers that got in the car. Older, of course, but quite definitely James Calloway.
Yes. But I believe we have bigger issues right now. Is that right, Dr. White? Jack, do we know where this thing is?
By all accounts, it's not hiding, it's just not here. Perhaps gone to wherever it was before the storm came and brought it out.
That seems too easy.
What
Waiting to be put back in somebody else.
What did you do? What happened?
I think she exercised it.
I guess I compelled it out of James, but it was in the secretary then, wasn't it?
I don't
Where
know.
did it go? It was fuzzy for me after that. I was attending to James. Where did it go?
It didn't. We didn't see it really go anywhere. The secretary, my impulse was that perhaps it was in her, but it wasn't.
Oh,
Abiel told me it just disappeared.
I heard commotion in the hall and I assumed you all were out there fighting it, but
So
Well-
there is something loose possibly in the city, although you don't know where. What was it at least? Do we know?
it
Your
was
thunder?
yes, it was the creature or being that Peter warned us we would need to defeat. So it seems prudent to make sure that we really did.
No. I will put the ladies on tracking down any clues or in investigating any possible changes in the people around. If it is loose in the city, then it looks like we have more work to do, yeah?
I realize that this is largely speculation, but I spent a lot of my time, when I was younger, reading. And if there's one thing that any time in a book, a knight or a group of adventurers in a radio drama or a comic or a book, they encountered a dragon, and it seemed like it was smart enough to have a plan. It knew when it was going to be defeated, and it would run, and it would wait, and it would sleep. This was one of the smart ones, if that makes any sense. So it may have just gone because it knows it has time.
So you think that it is biding its time somewhere?
I think that wherever these things come from, yes, it might be hibernating. The three of us, what Yvonne did to it, and what the three of us can see, can sense in the city, I can't imagine it being able to hide from us. But it's not here.
Well then, if it suits you, perhaps we continue our mutually, I hope, beneficial arrangement. and we will keep vigil over the city together as a team.
Gordon, one thing, I don't know if this will be helpful as we wait for this thing to resurface. You said something about the storm and it being awakened then. I don't know that that's when this was awakened. James, now that it's out of him, he didn't recognize me anymore. I mean, he kind of did, but he didn't realize it was me. And he was referring to his kid sister. And I gave him Jack's flask and he said, I'm not old enough to drink this. I think that thing entered him the night of the accident. I don't know if that's what caused the accident or if his weakened state was what opened him up to it. But I think that thing has been in him for decades.
If that is the case, then much like Dr. White, if I'm not mistaken, your powers had manifested before the storm as well, no?
Yes, that's correct.
Perhaps it is in waves. It comes and goes. It doesn't awaken all at once, but it does so on an individual basis. And that was your time the night of the storm, but perhaps others experience things earlier in life. My friends, there is much we do not know about this. Perhaps we should continue to search more. No?
Yes, it wouldn't hurt.
Could certainly use your abilities, Dr. White, to find those who have abilities beyond the norms. And you as well, Professor Owens. Jack, your intrepidness and doggedness will always be appreciated, and the way that you can obfuscate the world to where those people can see only what you want them to see. It is one of the reasons that I asked for all of you to come together. I think that our job here is far from over, although I believe that perhaps this chapter, for now, is done. Well, the ladies and myself, we have work to do, so I will leave you to your own. Perhaps we shall meet again soon. Less auspicious. How about dinner a week from now? Yeah?
I
I
know.
promise no
one-
firefights. And with that, he climbs into the vehicle and they take off towards their own office. You guys are left to your own. In this moment, standing outside the office, a bit singed, smelling a bit of campfire smoke. Dr. White, where are you going for now? What is your next move?
I think for now, I have a date to keep. So I'm headed home to get this smell of smoke off.
Excellent. By bidding you all a fond adieu, he had his action. Yvonne. Actually, I'm going to come back to Yvonne in a moment. Jack, where are you heading to, sir?
I smell like smoke. Might as well go to a bar that smells like smoke.
Yep, your flask is MIA, so why not?
Looking around. Any of you want to come with me?
I have a lot of explaining to do to a couple of important people in my life, so I'll let you two do that. But Jack, and I walk up to him and I take one of his hands and I say, I know things have been kind of rough with us lately. I maybe wasn't seeing everything clearly. I certainly wasn't seeing you clearly. I don't know what's channeling itself through you, but whatever it is, I'm really glad you're part of my story. And I'm going to squeeze his hand and then walk away.
Okay. Professor Owens, you sidle up next to Jack, kind of in that way of like, so where are we going now? Aww. And as you all part to go your separate ways, cut away to another week. Dinner with Gordon is actually pretty good. He puts into the air some ideas that he has for helping all of us to helping all of you to become more able to do the job that you're there to do, but also not hinder your own lives, since Yvonne, you are a famous actress, and Dr. White, you have patients to tend to. Professor Owens, you can't skip classes, and Jack, you have Jack things to do.
Not really. I'm kind of shutting down my investigations.
Then he offers you a position working with him full-time as the in-house investigator for Obscurum.
I am positive that pays better. So yeah, doing that.
Yeah, actually, during the course of that dinner, I would say to Jack and to him that I'm going to try to pour most of my focus now into not what I was doing before, which was helping people at night, but more so into being almost like a searchlight in the city whenever I'm out, and that my neighborhood could really use someone like Jack if he finds himself that direction in the evening.
Awesome. A few more weeks pass. Gordon has another meeting with all of you. It's more operations type things, nothing exciting. He does talk to you about possibly recruiting some more people. As you guys are wrapping up your meeting, one of the ladies, you're not sure which, it could be Gidget, but maybe it's Bridget, you're not sure, but she pops her head through the elevator and she says, "Trouble. I heard sirens. Want to go check it out? Looks like things are getting a little wicked." As you all make your way down to the bottom floor, sure enough, you hear it. The sound of sirens wailing, and a car goes driving by. A big thing with doors open on one side, and you can see somebody sticking his hand out. And as he does, he's not holding a gun, but you see him making emotions like one, and fire bursts from his fingertip and spurts out. The cops swerve and looks like they're going to be hit by it, and he just keeps doing that. Handsome lad smiles at you as he flies by on the car, almost as though he recognizes you and he kind of gives you a salute. And as the car peels away, we watch as you all jump into action. Just another day on the job for Obscurum. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for tuning in to all of our episodes of Obscurum. It has been an absolute delight to tell this story. Take it and run with it if you will. City of Mist is available. There's a starter kit that will tell you the intro to the rules. You should go check it out. Son of Oak Studios, if I'm not mistaken, is the name of it. But I believe that the actual site for City of Mist is City of Mist RPG, but I got to get that corrected. But check it out, City of Mist. It's a fantastic game. If you are ever at a convention where you can catch up with our own Nyx Tesseract, oftentimes she is running this game. I will let them talk more about themselves ad nauseum. So let's start with our own Nyx Tesseract.
Hey everyone, I'm Nyx. I am an actor, director, gamer, GM based out of Chicago, and I am going to be running some games at a con pretty soon, although not City of Mist this time around. I'm going to be at Con of the North in Minnesota, Minneapolis, in about 3 weeks, I think, February 13th through 16th, 14th through 16th.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm going to be running a couple of games of Monster of the Week there on behalf of the Crit Show.
And I will say this much. If City of Mist and thank you, City of Mist.co. City of Mist and Monster of the Week, they're all powered by the Apocalypse games. They all have a similar mechanic and feel to them. And I have played Monster of the Week, and now having run City of Mist, and I've also run Monster of the Week. And I think that they're both fantastic. They are great. Speaking of running things for the Crit Show, let's talk to the man behind it. Let's talk to Rev.
Hey, everybody, I'm Rev. As he said, thank you for joining us here on Obscurum for the last couple of months. I am the host and GM of The Crit Show, which is an actual play podcast where we play Monster of the Week. If you are looking for games to get people in that are real simple to learn, that is kind of the flag that we wave. We teach Powered by the Apocalypse games. We do Let's Plays for Fate games and Powered by the Apocalypse games and Forged in the Dark games. Fate of Cthulhu and Demigods and all kinds of stuff. So you can find us at thecritshowpodcast.com. It has a beautiful website that Nix has lovingly crafted over the course of 3 months now. And so you can find all of our Let's Plays as well as the main show there, which is Monster of the Week. And then it starts to jump through other Powered by the Apocalypse systems as the players discover they have to go to other dimensions to find all of the elements they need to defeat their big bad. And you can find it on The Crit Show anywhere. Just Google it.
That's awesome, though. That's a neat concept. I like that idea. Let's throw it over to Carl. Carl, tell us about yourself, sir.
Hi, I'm Carl Jordan. You can find me on Twitter as RPG Carl. That's probably the best way to keep track of what projects I'm doing in the future. I play a lot of D&D 5th edition these days, and just about everything from Path. So in a couple of months, I think you're going to see me in a new Onyx Path streaming game coming up. Other than that, I don't have anything on my plate for a while. In next week, I'll be in Fort Wayne, Indiana at Winter Fantasy, which is a D&D Adventure League focused con where my wife and I will be helping to run a D&D LARP that is very rules light, very like social heavy. And the players' actions in the D&D LARP for this event will have a direct impact on the Adventure League Chronicle going into next season for the Adventure League.
And I will say that I was there when they did this for the first time at Gen Con, and it was really cool to see them do this and to know that it had an effect on it. The one thing that I will tell you is that never have I, and I've been playing D&D specifically for a long time, 29 years, and I've never seen a player impact such as this before. So this is really neat, especially when you have the guys who write the material there and you go and hand them these things that say, oh, okay, well, we're going to rewrite all of this then. And it's really interesting to see and play, especially since I've ran the next season's, some of the games for next season, and I already know how those go, so it's going to be interesting to see the changes. And anyways, I'm going to carry on. We have someone else to introduce here, Mr. Colton.
Hello, I am Colton Mason. I am an actor and a economics major out from Missoula, Montana. And I don't really have any TTRPG things going on in the near future. But if you're heading to Magic Fest Reno and play Commander, I'll be there, and I'll have a few decks ready to go. So
I'm gonna call on you on this one because I remember you specifically saying that you might have some charity events you're doing.
Yes, I don't know when they are.
Okay.
Yeah, so like they're
right,
in
we'll keep an eye on 'em.
sometime. Yeah. Oh, and you can find me on Twitter at ColtonZ9 and Instagram at ColtonX9.
Excellent. Again, it has been my absolute pleasure to be the storyteller and the MC. My name is Heath. You can find me out there on the web at DireBearAC on Twitter and DireBearGM. I am a part of Nerdsmith, and I also run a game on Monday nights called The Escorts. It's a 5th edition homebrewed world. The world started off with no magic. The players made a decision that restored magic, but it also gave them an extra stat ability called Sanity. whenever the lines of the norm and the paranormal, the magical start to cross, they have to make a save against that or go insane or go mad for a temporary amount of time. It has been a lot of fun. I've got to introduce a lot of really cool things into there, but I will tell you that as far as narrative goes, this has been probably by far one of the best experiences I had, and I have to say that that is all thanks to those 4 players around me, with Nyx and all the emotion that she brings into it, along with Jack and along with with Carl bringing in his antics, but most importantly Colton. I've never had a more straight man play comedic relief ever before in my life. And then we have that solid state, that solid foundation beneath it all, which I believe was the embodiment of Dr. White, played by Rev. So thanks to all 4 of you for making this fantastic. Guys, Nerdsmiths has a lot of shows. We are wrapping seasons up, but we are still going on strong. So tune in. Our schedule's up. If you really want to watch something that's really fun to get interactive with and to catch a part of, on, as far as I know, on Wednesdays at he's going to correct me on the time, I know it, but at noon Pacific, they do a Discover RPG show, which is how I stumbled across them, completely by accident. And it was one of the best, most interactive shows that I had. We talked about taverns and all sorts of fun stuff, and that is where I met these guys, and that is why I had this opportunity. So I want to send a huge thank you to them for allowing me to do this. While we might be saying goodbye to Obscurum, feel free to take the story where you want to. There's now an operation out there called Obscurum. You can bring it into your own City of Mist game. Just be respectful of the characters that are here. But in the meantime, I'm going to quit rattling on. I will be at Winter Fantasy along with Carl and a bunch of other folks next week. If you're ever in the Huntsville, Alabama area and you want to play a game of mine, I am live running games on Thursdays and Fridays. Fridays, we do something completely different every week. So I'm also learning a game, teaching a game, playing a game every Friday, and it's always a lot of fun. There's a lot of people, but it's always a good time. Come down and find me. I'm at Lucky Dice Cafe on those nights. You can see me here on Twitch all the time, along with the rest of my crew, and that is all I've got to say. Thank you all so much for tuning in. It has been an absolute pleasure. Have a great night. Take care of yourselves. Until next time.